Hi there, welcome to another painting tutorial. So in this tutorial, we're going to paint a autumn lake scene, and it's a little bit of an abstract painting. So this is going to be the horizon line, these are going to be the trees, and then these are going to be the reflection of the trees in the water. And the way we're going to paint it is actually we're going to turn it vertically, and we're going to do the painting this way. And the reason we do that is just because the logical mind wants to paint what it thinks it knows instead of what it's actually seeing. So when you turn it this way, it's actually going to be easier to paint the trees more realistically. All right, so we want to start with a darker value green, and I'm going to use a size 0 spotter brush. And I'm just going to mix a little bit of this burnt sienna with some green. And that's going to give us a dark / medium value green, and just put that right along that line that you made in the center. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Try to use the very tip of that brush and just go all the way to the end. Got a little bit too much water there. Okay. And then we want to take a lighter value green, and this is going to be kind of the bank of the lake. So we want to take some white, just a titanium white, and mix a little bit of yellow, that lemon yellow, and then a little bit of a green. And that's just going to give us a light muted green. And then see if you can put that on either side of that darker line. That's just representing the riverbank. And whatever you do on one side, you want it to be kind of mirrored on the other side. So if I make a larger mark on one side, I'm going to want to try to make a larger mark on the other. And then let's mix a little bit more of that green. So we've got titanium white, a little lemon yellow, and then a little bit of that green. It's like a sap green, a little more yellow. Okay, and then I'm just mirroring what I did on the other side. So this would be a nice piece to do on a larger size canvas, and you could use this as like a decoration for your wall. It would be a really beautiful piece of wall art. Okay, so that looks good. Now I want to move on to a darker green, so I'm going to mix some of this dark brown and maybe a little bit of ultramarine blue, and then some of that green. Could also add a little bit of black to it, just to darken it a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to continue with this spotter brush, and I want to make kind of the shapes of the tree, and I'll start on one side. And I made this line here is just kind of the tree line, and that just gives me like a guide for how tall I want the trees to be. And that's going to help me get that symmetry that I'm looking for as well. So with these darker trees, I just want to put them kind of in a random manner and try to do different shapes as well. Some of these are tree shapes, and some of these might be a little bit wider types of trees, more of a square shape. And again, try to keep it random. And then I just want to go with that same color, and I just want to try to mirror what I did. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same, because when you have the reflection, the water kind of distorts the shape. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same. just kind of have fun and enjoy the process. This one's longer, and then put those in. That one's shorter. Okay, so that looks good there. And then I can move to another brush. Let's try, I've got these kind of, let's try this one. This is a round brush that's been kind of cut up and splayed. It's very kind of a junk brush. And see what kind of shape we can get here. I want to take the dark and put it along the canopy at the top of the trees. Let's see if we can get some of this dark value. Okay, and I'll just do the same thing to the other side, kind of mirror that. I got a little bit too much water. That's okay because, like I said, that part is kind of distorted, so maybe add a little bit more up here. So that kind of gives you a variety of brush strokes and shapes. Okay, and then you might want to let that dry. Remember, let that dry. Actually, let's switch to like a green, a lighter green. So let's take some of that lemon yellow, some of that sap green, a little more lemon yellow, and then let's put a little bit of that green in the canopy. We don't want to do too much because we're going to be using orange, and we don't want the orange to disappear with the green. And keep in mind that orange and green, they're almost opposites on that color wheel, like red and green. So when they mix together, they're going to turn kind of brown and muddy. So we do want to let this layer dry before we come in with the orange. And let's switch brushes and move into the orange. And to make that orange color, take a little bit of yellow ochre and mix it with this vermilion red. And then let's put a little bit of orange, bright orangey red, kind of in between these green trees. And I can kind of switch the angle here so it's easier. At home, you would probably just want to turn your paper. And just take advantage of those white spots where that orange can be really bright and just show through. If you try to paint it on top of the green, it's probably not going to show up. And let's add a little bit of variety with our height. Try to go up to that guideline that we made. Just making some taller orange trees. Okay, now you could switch to another color, maybe a different brush. Let's try some yellowish orange with this more of a round brush. So try not to get any green, but take a little bit of orange, orangey red, and some of that yellow. Let's try to pop it in. And that gives you a pretty nice texture. Let's see if we can get a little bit more on the yellow side. Okay, so we might need, okay, so let's take this yellow ochre and put some of that in there. You can kind of see how it's starting to come together and look like a lake. Let's switch back to the size 2 filbert and take some straight yellow ochre and just put that in. At this point, we want to try to get rid of all of these white spaces. just taking the yellow ochre and going around. I almost want some straight yellow just to have a variety of color. Put that in, a bright, brilliant yellow. And try to put it in different spots. Okay, and then at this point you can just kind of go back, bouncing from side to side, filling in any of those marks, any of those white spots that you see left. Okay, all right, so now you could let that dry, and maybe before it dries, what you could do is take a size 12 flat brush, and I'm going to take this pretty transparent white paint, and I'm going to put it straight over the bottom, and just see if that will kind of blend things a little bit, just because this is the side where the water is, and so everything is just going to be a little bit hazy, a little bit blended from that water. Okay, and then I might take the size 2 filbert at this point, and I'm probably just going to go back and add a little bit more detail on this side with the trees. Just kind of refine things, add a little more value, make my shapes a little bit more precise, more detailed, just to kind of sharpen the image. Maybe make a little more of a shadow along that base of the tree line. Okay, and you can just kind of play with this. Again, have fun and add your details. Maybe add some darker values. Maybe your trees are looking a little bit too uniform, so you could make some adjustments there with the shape and the size and the how tall or how short they are. Do some blending as well. Okay, so that is about finished. And then when you take it and turn it the other way, you can see you have a nice, beautiful, kind of abstract fall mountain lake piece. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.